Week 3, RDR Live. Let's get into it. Welcome to Drag Talk. Welcome to another episode of Drag Talk with me, Ariel Allure. We'll be going over RuPaul's Drag Race Episode 3, RDR Live, my new favorite comedy challenge. Before we get into the episode, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I would love to get this channel to at least 250 subscribers by the time the season ends. I don't think that's too much to ask for. So I want y'all to help this community grow, and let's get into the things. So this week's main challenge is RDR Live, which is based around SNL Live. For those who don't know, SNL, short for Saturday Night Live, is a very popular comedy skit show that is based in my hometown, New York. So I already have a little bit of a bias towards this type of challenge because I know of SNL, about SNL. I'm not going to say that I'm the biggest fan of the program, but it's so ingrained in comedy culture and New York culture. It's just one of those things. I have times where I've enjoyed SNL when they have certain guest stars. I may watch their skits. I loved growing up seeing Eddie Murphy when he had a run on SNL. However, it makes sense for drag queens and sketch comedy. They go hand in hand. So I thought that this was absolutely brilliant. I have heard over the years that some people don't care for this challenge because they don't think the skits are funny. Yes, that is a heavy component to it. If the skits aren't funny, if the writing isn't there, it doesn't matter how the queens act, it's just not going to work. I will say this ahead of time. I think the skits that happened this go around were the best thus far. This is only the third time that they have done this kind of challenge. So the way that I'm going to do this is more based around the skit itself. So I'm going to critique everybody that was in the skits in order, as well as their runway looks simultaneously. Starting off with the first skit, which was the butter churning, which had Discord Adams, Mia Starr, Mandy Mango, and Darlene Mitchell. Starting off with Discord Adams, she played the role of an announcer for the butter churning competition, and I thought she did decently. She didn't have any standout moments to me, but she did have the inflection and stayed in character the whole time. On the runway, the category was animal attraction, so you had to, their outfit had to be very animal themed, animal inspired. For Discord's outfit, she decided to do the albino alligator, and I thought that this was actually really smart the way that she did it, where she was the albino and then she was carrying the bag, which was the human face, because you know, us humans, you know, we carry handbags that are made out of alligator. So I did like the spin on it. Again, she got that walk. And RuPaul did talk to her in the workroom about this walk, but I'm starting to believe that they are purposefully setting her up for it as a gimmick, so Ru's always laughing. I don't know if that's necessarily good or not for the future of Discord's career. Like, you'll always be known as the girl with the bad walk. So I don't know. She said Ru finds it amusing. We all know that y'all gonna do whatever to keep mother amused. So if it's working and she's not telling you to necessarily change it, which I don't understand why. If she's not telling you necessarily to change it, then go for it. However, I think Discord did great. She's safe. On to the next week. Our next girl is Mia Starr. She too was another announcer, so there were two announcers. She did great. I loved her accent. I loved the build. I felt like she played more into the innuendos of the skit when they were talking about the butter and churning and anything that was provocative in there. So I felt like she played more into it physically as well as when she delivered her lines. I wonder how they decided which one of them was going to get the finisher. Because I'm like, well, I had to be Mia. But she was a great sport. On the runway, she dressed up like a pink poodle in homage to her pet. And she looks so good, so cute. It goes, again, very into the Mia Starr aesthetic. I love it. She is safe. Glad to see her go another week. And I love me some Mia Starr. I love her. I love her spirit. I love her in the workroom. I love her laugh, and just she's a very big comfort to those girls, and they just all getting along with everybody. I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the season, if Mia was a contestant for Miss Congeniality. For real, for real. I feel like Darlene Mitchell really played into her previous drag persona of trash mixed with her Indiana roots. I believe she's from Indiana. And she did the damn thing. She was comical. Her physical comedy was on point. The outfit was there. She was the star of that skit. On the runway, she picked Cal. Now, when she first came out, she was on her tiptoes. I didn't even realize that she was wearing flats the whole time. If she had stayed on her tiptoes, I feel like they would have given her the win or some more props. Definitely in the top. I know she was in the top this week, but she could have been better. I feel like she could have gotten the win, truthfully. But Darlene Mitchell did good. Mandy Mango unfortunately did sashay away. We'll get into that a little bit later. But she, in her skit, she was supposed to be the demure Amish woman. Now, there is something about the judging on Mandy that doesn't make any sense to me. I get it. She's supposed to be demure. But if she's the demure one, right? Darlene Mitchell's supposed to be the trashy one. It's a competition. What more was she supposed to do as the Amish woman without exposing herself? That's the part that I'm trying to figure out. What more? I feel like that made sense for the character to do was like, oh, out of nowhere, oh, you think she's so demure, boop. She flashes everybody and then does what she does. To me, that made a little bit more sense. So I'm not understanding what the judges meant by, oh, she was supposed to stay there. She was supposed to stay demure. Now, acting-wise, was it the greatest? No. I felt like she just said that, like, acting-wise, you weren't the greatest. But the whole character dissection and analysis, I do not agree with. On the runway, she picked Deer. She looked cute, but I think it was kind of simple. So I do agree with the guest judge. I believe her name was Sarah. I can't think of her name right now. She said, oh, she wished that there were more mushrooms on the bottom. Yeah, I feel like the overlay could have been a little bit more extra. It's sad to see her go. Again, we'll get into elimination a little bit later because I do have thoughts on that. But overall, Mandy Mango does have a very great spirit. She's doing good for her community. Sad to see her go, but I do think I agree with some of the judges and some of the others when they were saying she needs a little bit more refinement. Just a little bit more, just a little more bacon in the oven. That's all you need, boo. So that was the pre-skit that goes into live from Tuckahoe. It's RDR Live. Now, what I found very interesting about this version is that they didn't give them the whole introduction. So in the past seasons, they gave them the real proper introduction where everybody was introduced. This one, they just announced that it was RuPaul being the musical guest. Then we open up with Athena Dion, let's get into Athena and Briar, okay? Briar is a troublemaker, a full-blown troublemaker. I personally didn't really care for her in the beginning of the episode where they were de-dragging and Athena was in her feelings and Shorty was like, yo, I need a minute. You should respect that. It's not all play all the time. You need to respect people's space, especially when they're in their emotions. That's how blow-ups happen, honestly. It's because you want to keep poking the bear. And then when they go off, oh no. I get the whole teasing thing. That's how I'm saying. I'm not saying that you can't tease. I'm just saying you got to know the times and read the room, Briar. With all that being said, it does make sense for Athena to be the host and Briar to be the inner saboteur. Even though Athena originally didn't want the part, honestly, I kind of saw her as the host. I thought either she would be the host or Mia would be the host of RDR Live once they announced. So Athena starts off the hosting, and I think she did a decent job. It wasn't nothing spectacular. It seemed like she was comfortable in such a position and was going through the lines and the motions. However, Briar coming in as her inner saboteur, in that little teamwork, you could see that there was a disconnect there, as well as Briar. I don't know what Briar was doing. Like, Briar was, I don't know what to call it. You could tell that Briar was faking it. So I know they have the lines, right? I know they have the lines. I know they have to say those lines. But she didn't have the same attitude as when she's in the workroom just bothering her, if that goes together. I believe Briar was thinking too much. However, we're talking about Athena right now. Athena did fine. She went through her lines. I actually liked her a little bit more when she was introducing the Lipstick Lovers skit and her doing that whole little bit. I feel like she did better in that section as opposed to on stage originally introducing the show. For the runway, Athena did the owl, which is very symbolic in Greek culture for her, which makes complete sense. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Even though for me, I would have slightly changed the face kini part and had her, I would have painted my face, because she does have a beautiful mug. Can we just say this is the season of mugs? There are a lot of mugs on this season that I want to see them recreate and watch tutorials of how they paint their faces. I digress. I wish she didn't have the face kini, painted her face, and then had those gold pieces kind of like wings. So if you ever saw Poison Ivy and how she had those kind of green pieces as part of her makeup, something along that effect. Overall though, Athena did look gorgeous. She's safe, cool. On to the next. Seeing as how we were talking about her, let's get into Briar Blush. Briar didn't do the greatest. She didn't. Briar was in and out of several skits. So she was the inner saboteur. Then she was also the second anchor on QNN News. I think that's how the news segment. She was all right. Like, no, she didn't do the greatest. We saw that it wasn't the greatest. Her runway though was really pretty. We'll get into that lip sync again because I have thoughts. Next skit is Lipstick Lovers, and we start off with Nene Coco. Nene Coco was great. She was safe, but I love what she did with her performance. I wonder if that red lipstick top is the same lipstick top from Jane Doe's outfit last week. She did a good job. On the runway, she was a frog. Let me see what kind of frog she was. On the runway, Nene was a poison dart frog, and these pictures that she put out, I'm looking at them right now, her makeup is amazing. I don't know, can you see the makeup for that? Hold on, Gimbal, follow that makeup. It is gorgeous. She looks so good. I'm surprised they didn't keep her at the top and do a critique, because she deserved it. The skit, she wasn't it was safe for the skit, but her runway was top tier. Looking at this, ooh, this might actually be my favorite. I thought I had another one that's my favorite, but this one, Nene is killing it. Everybody's talking about Jane Don't, but they kind of need to watch out for Nene as well. Also in the skit was Can You Please Her? She did well. She achieved her goal. She wanted to be the person that comes into the scene and creates a splash. I believe she did so, but in a safe way. On the runway, her animal was a tiger, but she wanted to be a pimp tiger. Nothing wrong with the look. It was just, again, a safe look. I'm just glad my girl is safe. There are certain people, I don't think that they're doing exceptionally well this far in the competition. It's still very early days. However, I'm just taking it week by week, and I'm glad that they are safe. I mean this with all respect. Last in the skit was Vita Von Teese, and I was a little worried about her. As soon as she the skit started, it did seem like she was a little bit uncomfortable with the material. It didn't seem like she was acting or knew how to act. She just seemed a little stiff. I was trying to figure out if that was her voice or if she put on a voice. Turns out she put on a voice. So I don't think the voice was necessary. If she got rid of the voice and just relaxed out a little bit, I don't think the lines were bad. It was just how they were delivered. On the runway, she decided to be a zebra, and I thought it was gorgeous. It looked to me very Lion King-esque, especially because she had, even though she painted her face like a zebra, she also had the top part that was the zebra head as well. And that was kind of something that they did in The Lion King. If you look at the puppeteering, yes, the actors would be painted, but they also had that extra piece of the animal that they were portraying. I'm just glad my girl's safe. I know she didn't do as bad as the other bottoms, but I can see how her performance landed her in the bottom 3. Queen News Network was the next skit, and I agree with the judges slightly. I wouldn't say that it was so boring until Jane Don't came in. However, there was no levels of energy. It was honestly like Briar was reading the teleprompter and trying to memorize these lines. And then Sierra Mist was just acting like an enthused newscaster. I honestly didn't start seeing a lot of different emotions from her until Jane Don't came in. And then when Jane Dont's playing the mom and she's talking about, the different things that she learned in the community. I don't know where that accent came from. Where she learned from the daddies and all of that. And you see Sierra Mist's reaction. That's the most reaction we get out of her. So yes, I do agree that the skit could have used more levels between the two anchors prior to Jane Doe coming. We already talked about Briar Blush and her outfit, so let's get into Sierra Mist. She was a chameleon. It was gorgeous. It was a gorgeous piece. The reason why she didn't get critiqued is because she didn't do anything that spectacular in the challenge. So, not spectacular in the challenge, great and decent runway. Okay, you're safe. That's it. Jane Doe, on the other hand, she had a great character. I loved her. Thought she would win until somebody else. And then on the runway, I do like that she decided not to be an actual animal representation and decided to just be a theme, an abstract version of it with the colors and the feathers. She looked absolutely gorgeous. Jane Doe is someone that I feel will do well in this competition. I don't necessarily feel like... I kind of felt a little sorry for her about, she doesn't want to always be in the top because she thinks that people are going to, not want to deal with her or be friendly with her. I get the push and pull of that emotion. However, you're on a competition show. So isn't the whole point is to win the competition? Stand the sisterhood. I know you want to have sisters, you want to have community. I get that. However, simultaneously, it's a competition. It's $200,000 on the line. It's not your fault. You're good at what you do, mama. Sometimes you just gotta... I'm not saying be stank about it. That's not what I'm saying at all. However, I'm glad she felt her feels. I'm glad Briar and Juicy were there to kind of support her. Like, nah, you're doing good. Be proud of that. Be proud of your accomplishments. And Briar was like, if you win, I'll be the first one to tell you congratulations. I love that moment. I really, really do love that moment. Last but not least, and honestly, this was my favorite skit. It was the Young Michelle skit. I am curious as if she was the one that was tap dancing in the beginning, or was that a double? I think she really did dance in the beginning. So kudos to you, Michelle. Let's get into Mikey Meeks first. She thought that this was going to be her week fully. I love that she did guide Juicy and helped her with Juicy's anxiety about acting. I don't think Mikey Meeks did bad, actually. I just thought that it was safe. Honestly, what I think brought her down this week was the outfit. She decided to be a cheetah. And again, I'm not saying you have to be the animal itself or go for the approach that Rita Von Teese did or some of the others. However, it did look very Halloween, slutty cheetah with the hat. Like, I could do that. But that one looked really simple. It was like, okay, you just paint up like a sexy cheetah. for Halloween. So that's why you were safe, honestly. Juicy Love Dion did an excellent job in this challenge. I fully agree with how she presented herself and how she held her body and the characterization. She gave me fully somebody from Queens. That's who I thought she was playing. She got all the hints and the innuendos. I feel like her and Mikey Meek, really played well off of each other. So I'm very, very proud of Juicy, and I'm glad that she won this week. On the runway, Juicy decided to dress up as a pangolin. So I had to look this up, and I'm looking at these pictures. It looks slightly to me that it could be part of the armadillo family. It looks like possibly his cousin, but scalier. And she did an excellent job on this runway. She killed. It was a glamorous pangolin. If she wanted to bring attention to this animal, mission accomplished. She wins the challenge. Congratulations to Juicy Love Dion. On to the bottoms. So, the judges decided that the bottoms are Mandy Mango, Briar Blush, and Vita Von Teese. I do agree with them being the bottom. I would say, in general, those bottoms are the ones whose performances did not quite live up to what it should. Okay? The bottom two end up being Mandy and Briar. This is where it slightly goes off the rails. And this is one of my problems with Drag Race. There's times in this show where results of certain competitions, certain episodes have come down to, honestly and truthfully, the lip sync itself. This was not one of those times. If we are basing this solely and truly off of the lip sync itself, Mandy Mango should have stayed. However, this is Mandy Mango's third time in the bottom, and there's only been in three episodes. So every single episode thus far, she has been in the bottom. I wonder if there would ever be a time where they didn't do the lip sync for your life. Here's what I mean. Simply bring it down to the bottom two, and you're like, look, in this case, we don't need to do the lip sync. You have been in the bottom three for 3 weeks straight, and this season has just started. Your time is up. So I don't know what's going to happen from here on out. I'm very curious as to the rest of the season without Mandy Mango, with this type of judging. Next week, it looks like they're teaming up with each other for a design challenge, and I think Vita and Mia are together, which I would love. All in all, this was an excellent episode. I liked it. It was fun. Some questionable judging, I will say. It was questionable. I do agree with the tops and bottoms. The way they go about things is what makes me question. So that is all that I have for you on this week's episode of Drag Talk. Again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let us talk about what are your thoughts so far of this season. We're 3 episodes in. I still say it's early days. I do have some that are my faves. Again, we all know I'm rooting for Mia Starr. Outside of that, I am rooting for Vita Von Teese. I'm still getting it together who I'm actually rooting for as far as the competition wise, outside of who I just like in general. They are 2 different things for me. So until next time, be kind, be safe, spread love, not hate. Peace.